Make some noise. Let's not be dry, as Durgesh ji pointed out. Let's head out for a world where even chartered accountants are as live as and as buzz-making as software industry leaders are taking the lead, when we have such a huge, beautiful personalities, promising speakers right in front of us. Shri Anandji, CA Anandji, has already taken us through a very beautiful, detailed, and informative blockchain session. I would be honored and dignified to introduce to you Dr. Rakshit Tandon. He is Risk Advisory Cyber Detect and Respond Leader, a consultant to Internet and Mobile Associations of India, director and founder of HackDev Technology, Hackershala, CodesNeg, and CY Aid, cyber consultant to CID Haryana Police, advisory to state cyber crime cells, member of Indian Police Foundation, member and visiting faculty of central government and state government police academies. Ladies and gentlemen, he has been part of special circuits on Google, TED Talks, Josh. Whatever we have to say about him is going to be really less, and so I would want that without wasting a minute, let's get just straight to the business, because we are here to address your concerns. We have past Chairman C.A. Niren Nagri for facilitating both of our members. May I please request C.A. Pathik Bhai to facilitate our another dignitary to the dais, C.A. Palak Vasa. We are very much grateful to have Palak Vasa here, who is a chartered accountant, again from our background, who has worked with ITC for almost 5 years and has developed his own company, and he has co-founded Audit. Along with his 2 friends, he is presently helping Reserve Bank of India, IDBI Bank, and KPMG to transform their audit services. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please have a round of applause for all the speakers present here? With this, let us start the panel discussion.
So don't expect this something like, Republic Bharat kind of panel, okay? I know it's post-lunch session, but bata raha hu.
Yeah, so I can't be Arnab Goswami at the same time, because we are here for a very informative, interactive, thought-provoking, and engaging sessions. So as you introduced us today morning, blockchain is playing a pivotal role in current affairs as a preventive control. We would like to have your opinion on how can we have technological acceptance with respect to chartered accountant and accounting and auditing firms. How can we make sure that everybody finds it user-friendly and the approach to it improves?
Shall I go first?
Yeah, yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay, I think Pooja has a very good question. I think one of the things which I have seen most of the time, see, we are very good in terms of, okay, I'll actually try to make a counter question here. I worked for around 9 years in Infosys, one of the tech company, a giant over all of you know. Why don't we have a Google or ChatGPT coming of India? There was a big insult to India when Sam Altman was here, and he said it will be a big issue out there in terms of if, we don't think it will be fruitful to have it up. Now, somewhere it actually has to do with our fear for failure. And I would say this is very much there. All of us sitting in this room, we think we want to have a mindset ki har baar successful hona hi padega. If you're trying something, we don't have a kind of thing ki agar unsuccessful hua to it is okay. Bangalore is a startup capital. If you come sometime, there are a lot of startup which fails. It doesn't mean that startup is bad. That idea was bad, execution may be bad, something is bad. But हमें क्या होता है? अरे ये तो failure है. Now same thing applies to us. We always want someone else to try it first, and we will be the follower. If you want to be leader, let's have a mindset of experimentation. And I'm again telling you, how many of you know one thing called Google Graveyard? आप में से कितने लोगों ने नाम सुना है Google Graveyard? 1%, 2%. See, Google has so many products of them which are unsuccessful and they're put on the graveyard. You can just go onto the site. In our office also, we work in blockchain, we work on data science, we work on IS side, digital forensic. We have so many products which we have made and destroyed. Like kind of, when I say destroyed, it's not used at all. But unless you try it, you will not do it. A best example I'll give you is, do you know the gentleman who made WhatsApp had been rejected by Facebook, was rejected by Google many times, and he made a 20 people team which was sent for 9 billion. Now, are we having that mindset? If you want to have linear incremental growth, be in the place where you want. You want to have a greater growth, you want to come out and say, I'll challenge the status quo, as a CA firm, I'll give you services which no one can even imagine. You have to come in and you have to have experiment mindset. Our president sir was talking about the firm, and I can tell you, you can go and check it out. The firm name is Guru and Jana in Bangalore, which doesn't use any paper. And it's actually a kind of 450 plus firm. So if they can do it, you can do it better. And I think it's only the mindset which I can think. I had too much I spoke about. Rakshit bhai, you want to add something?
So, looking at the landscape of digital India now, I think acceptance to technology, as rightly said by Anand bhai, is that वो first layer of fear जो है ना उसको तोड़ना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And with the blockchain, I always advocate because I have been seeing the attacks very closely. I've been working in the domain of cybersecurity, and I closely work with institutions when they come undergo an attack. And you know what the first thing they lose? They lose their data. And data is the new gold, data is the new oil, and it's everything. So with acceptance to blockchain, the first thing you ensure is the data security, that is the decentralization of data. So even if the attacker comes here in my room and steals my data, he's just only getting a fraction of it. He's not getting the complete data set. So acceptance to new technology is important. I have seen, my association being CA was, Chartered Accountants was, I used to work as a faculty for IT subject in your institutes. And they used to call me as a faculty. And then I was the first one when I started my technology career in the year 1992-94. I was the first, you can say, an associate partner of a software called Tally. And at that time, I used to sell Tally 4.5 and people, they don't want to buy it. उनको वो फ्री में मिल जाता था नेहरू प्लेस में सीडी के अंदर. एंड आई वॉज द फर्स्ट वन टू गिव दैट पिक्चर टू देम कि बॉस मैं एग्जांपल देता था कि मेरा ड्राइवर और मेरा जो गनर है वो ड्राइवर आईएसआई का है और गनर जो है वो पाकिस्तान के किसी टेररिस्ट ग्रुप का है और उस गाड़ी में मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ, तो आप बताओ क्या मैं सेफ हूँ? एंड दे यूज्ड टू से नो. सो हु ड्राइव्स माय कंप्यूटर ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम? वो पायरेटेड. हमारी विंडोज़ वो चोरी की चल रही दहेज वाली. एंटीवायरस हमने फ्री डाउनलोड किया हुआ है और वो भी पायरेटेड. और उसमें जो अकाउंटिंग कर रहा है, यू आर माइनिंग डेटा फॉर ऑल योर क्लाइंट्स. और वो टैली कौन सा है? वो भी पायरेटेड है. हम डोंगल नहीं खरीदेंगे साहब, हम पायरेटेड. एंड दैट वाज द टाइम व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माय जर्नी एंड नाउ हैव सीन दैट चेंज, दैट टुडे पीपल ओन सॉफ्टवेयर. सो दैट एज राइटली सेड कि हम लोग फेलियर से डरते हैं, एक्सेप्टेंस से डरते हैं. एंड आई थिंक जैसा अनिकेत भाई अभी बोल के गए, दिस वाज so motivating to hear that how technology has bridged everything. And see, अब तो हमारे यहाँ नोट ही नहीं देखने को मिलते डिमोनेटाइज. तो वो बाहर ठेल वाला भी QR कोड से काम कर रहा है. तो द मनी इज डिजिटल, वी आर एंटरिंग इनटू डिजिटल करेंसी, वी आर एक्सेप्टिंग डिजिटल करेंसी. So in that, I think yes, acceptance to technology has to be there 100%.
Thank you very much, sir. And let's brace ourselves. I would want all of our fraternity members to embrace this fact that no other people. I guess I have failed more than 10 times. Let me be very honest and authentic here, and I wear it as a badge. And I'm very proud of it because along with becoming a CA, I have found myself that it has taught me to be a very confident person. That failing is not bad in itself. Today, how I see and carry myself, even as a human being, it's a stage apart. So let's embrace failure and wear it as a crown of making sure that we level ourselves up. And with this, I would want to ask you one another question to Dr. Rakshit sir, that we are receiving this unstructured data like as text documents, video files, and those of it hold very highly valuable insights. But it can be challenging at times to analyze and compare due to its lack of standardized format. How do you think the standardization of unstructured data could benefit accounting and auditing industry per se?
So I think the use of standard softwares is going to bring it in. The problem is that we all started in the industry when we were born and we were only taught that there is something called Microsoft. And the first fear of Microsoft was कि भाई वही MS Word होता है, Word Excel होता है, PowerPoint होता है, बहुत महंगा आता है यार 40,000 रुपए का. और अगर आपने again coming to the piracy word, when you build into the pirated software, obviously you will have bugs and breaches. So now the industry has moved to open source softwares, and I think open source is one which brings this standard format. Plus, let me tell you, I'm working in the forensic department with cyber forensics, and I recently come across a tool which I was working on a very huge case of, it was a CBI related case, and it was related to CSAM, that is child sexual abusive material. And I was amazed to see the use of AI in structuring that data. So I put in 167 mobiles, each somewhere around 228 to 254 GB, and that data was plugged in, and the report which I was seeing was not 1 million files or 10 lakh audio files. I was seeing structured data. I was seeing text containing pornography, text containing accounts, text containing shopping or receipts. So it was filtered. So I think AI in future is going to help you for doing that kind of a job. Implementation of AI and usage of open source standard software, and please say no to piracy. You want to be safe, you want to be happy and smiling. I have seen a chartered accountant crying on 28th of March, and he was crying because his old computer, what he had 15-20 computers, 30-40 articles working under him, 10 to 15 clients, और 31 मार्च से पहले उसका सारा डेटा एक डिजिटल किडनैपर ले गया, उस पर ताला लगा गया और एक छोटी सी चिट्ठी छोड़ गया, बोला 5 बिटकॉइन दे दो, डेटा ले लो. इस फिरौती कहते हैं हिंदी में इसको. And it was a ransomware attack, and this all came because they were using a pirated version on all their systems. They were bugged, their RDP and everything was exposed, no proper securities, and the worst thing was they were using some, I'm not going to name it because मैं किसी product को contradict नहीं करूँगा यहाँ पे. They were using a remote desktop software with their clients कि मैं यहीं से बैठ के आपका वो ले लूँगा, आप बस वो आपने नाम सुने होंगे AnyDesk और TeamViewer, and my God, and they all suffered a major attack, and I got almost 15 to 18 complaints in a span of a week. And the best part was all of them were CAs. And the worst part was मैंने पूछा बैकअप है, बोले हाँ साहब उसी हार्ड ड्राइव के डीप ड्राइव में था. तो मतलब they were so proud in saying कि हमारे सारे clients का बैकअप C के अंदर एक पार्टीशन था, D ड्राइव उसी में था. So I hope my point comes clear here. So I want cyber security to be proactive, and I use standard softwares now. तो ये जो point है unstructured वाला वो अपने आप ही rule out हो जाता है.
So, in
Yes,
fact, I'll
Palak, we
just
would like to
add
have your
something
thoughts.
on this unstructured data analysis. I think it's very important and very creative at this point of time, especially with all the chat GPT, generative AI coming into picture. They are analyzing huge sets of unstructured data sets. I'll give you an example, very recent case of Reserve Bank of India. They have come up with a tender, closely working with consulting firms now to implement unstructured data analysis in areas like social media analytics, complaint analytics, board of governance monitoring of all the banks across India. So basically the Reserve Bank felt that they do not have their early warning signals are actually missing, as what they're getting these complaints much later stage and not beforehand. So they're investing huge quantum of money. The tender is almost close to 100 crore tender being invested in unstructured data sets. So I think it's a very, very important aspect at this point of time, dealing with unstructured data sets. I think as articles, I think we have also dealt with a lot of vouching and verification. I think the world has now moved from that, definitely, where if you're able to convert now unstructured data sets into structured data sets, then I think that really helps as CAs, as auditors to actually bring out value insights, in our audits.
Thank you very much. So we can understand this one thing. Yes, Bhavesh, you have a question here.
So we as a professional.
Can we please?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. So taking forward to your point, we as a professionals also get this data through various sources of various organizations or the businesses we see. So how can we structure those data for our analysis based on in our office to get that analytics and that insights of those businesses? Can
Yeah.
you please share something?
Yes, I think we get this question a lot, and I just give a background of why I'm talking in this subject matter is because we have founded one company and developed a tool named iAudit. Now iAudit typically automates your entire auditing journey. We have been fortunate to work with right from banks to regulators like with Reserve Bank of India, with banks like IDBI Bank, and to professional bodies like KPMG. So we have got a huge spectrum of clients ourselves. Now this question, as you said, definitely comes a lot when we say that because clients, like as CAs, we have got huge unstructured data sets, from our clients. What we basically tell to our clients is that first I think we need to focus on low hanging fruits. Let's focus on the structured data that we get. Let's identify those areas where our team is spending the majority of their time. So you'll be able to quantify that okay, the quantum of man hours in going analyzing these 10 reports or 10 exception or 10 auditing checks is way higher. So I think we should start focusing on first automating those aspects and then probably move towards unstructured data sets, because unstructured data sets, there are very specific use case scenarios available in the market which are working very well. Like for example, KYC monitoring or KYC onboarding in case of banks, it's working precisely perfectly well, and which are absolutely unstructured data sets working precisely well. But they have a very specific use case scenarios for unstructured data. What we as auditors get, is a whole sort of bunch of data sets. So there is no single tool presently available in the market. There is Google AI Vision is available. There are a lot of libraries like Tesseract libraries available. They are not giving a standardized method to convert, let's say, a Hindi language into a structured data set, or any document into a structured method. So we are finding increasingly difficult, being very honest. So what we advise to our clients is that first focus let's on structured data sets, try to automate that, try to save man hours in that space, and then let's move to unstructured data sets, because unstructured data, a lot of heavy investments are required.
So
I hope it serves your yeah.
Time for introspection, isn't it? Before we establish somebody else's processes, we better look within. Like if we are to stand at par with the world-class chartered accountants sought after, as our honorable president has envisioned already, let's put our best forth. Let's understand that even if being chartered accountant, if we don't find that piracy and using pirated software, a lot of detriment is coming with it. We would request that we understand that those will be our investments rather than our cost. Actually, if we look at the long-term vision of our practicing chartered accountant firms, all of us would really have it as a capital asset of their own, right? So with this, many of us wonder here that if adopting technology would burn a hole in our pockets. and that has demotivated us rather to go for it, So could you please educate us if we have a better options that can balance both modernization of our business processes as well as maintenance of liquidity? Dr. Rakshit, please.
So and I think all of you will agree with me that 10 years down the line or 15 years down the line, you used to go to the market to buy office tool. And they used to ask you for 40 grand or 40,000 or 50,000 rupees. Today, my whole family of 4 people, they have official version of MS Office. It's a cloud-based version. And it doesn't hurt my pocket when I'm spending, 426 rupees per month? Which I'm spending, 4,000, 4,500 per year? So now the model of cloud has come into picture, so that heavy cost which was burning your systems is gone out. The number of systems work, you pay for that. The number of members work, you pay for that. So SaaS, we call it SaaS, software as a service has come out now. Cloud has made it possible. And the one point which I would like to mention, because I have not, I would say, audited, but I have handled some very major attacks. And I work with EDs and EOWs and DRIs and all. So where I come across people who are knowledgeable like you to handle the accounting system. One I would like to mention here is, don't be multi-vendor. Don't bring in multi-vendors in your organizations. कि वो आपको पता ही नहीं रहता है कि वो फिर लाइबिलिटी और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं बनती है कि साहब सॉफ्टवेयर ए से लिया, हार्डवेयर बी से लिया, अपग्रेड सी से कराया, हमने इस बार का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स डी को दिया और 3 महीने बाद वो पसंद नहीं आया तो ई को दिया. तो पता चलता है वो मल्टी वेंडर्स जो बन जाते हैं ना, दैट बिकम्स अ ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम इन योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस व्हेन इट कम्स टू सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेशंस और लाइसेंसेस और ट्रबल्स एंड शूटिंग्स. सो now it's not burning the pockets. This is what I would like to say. You bring in any name of the software and you'll find a very comprehensive version available in cloud model per month.
I completely agree. This one, as Rakshit bhai said, I have one counter question for all of you. How many of you have a CRM software in your office? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Raise your hands fully.
Five,
Yes,
five,
thank you
6,
very much.
7, 8 people in that. See, I'll tell you, in Fee we had a CRM which costed us, like I'm talking a long back, it was like on-prem SAP CRM, it costed us something around 3 crore to set up. Today, everyone can have, as Rakshit bhai said, on a SaaS model, any CRM. Forget anything else, Zoho itself has a CRM for a fraction of like 300, 400 bucks. I think if you are, from a practice management perspective or anyone, it's very easy to do it and go for this model SaaS. Yeah, there are some way of cloud computing, cloud controls and all things you have to look into. That is a different thing. But I would suggest use it. HRMS system, all of these things. People are not fools to actually buy this system. There is requirement for that. Businesses are changing. See, how many of you would be actually still comfortable to go in the old way? None of us. Don't you think our client also expect a better thing out there? Yeah. So that's my submission.
Thank you very
I
much.
think I completely concur. The way pricing plans are coming up with tech companies, is just amazing. There are free premium models. Yeah. There are, you get 1 month of free subscription. So I think it's just a matter of, it's a behavioral, I think, issue rather than a cost issue. Reason why I'm saying is that, a lot of these tools, like, when we go and pitch our tool, we give it free of cost. We said, we do a POC basically. We said, you prove your ROI. You get your ROI right in the software, then invest in the software. So there are increasingly such companies available in the market. I think it's, as Sir said, right, about CRM software. There are free of cost CRM softwares available, which you can easily use. So there is not even 300 rupees needs to be paid for that. We are using a free of cost CRM ourselves. So, basically, I think it's more of a behavioral thing, and where we want to basically adopt technology rather than the cost perspective.
So apart from social media, let's get our upgrades with this also, because we don't mind, going for this small amount of investments. Exactly, and this clearly shows us that the cost is not a numbing effect for us to grow. Let's not make it an excuse merely by, getting afraid of the buzzwords like technology, AI, machine
I'll just
learning.
add to one thing. I was in a place called Guntur. Do you know a place called Guntur?
Yeah.
नाम सुना है आपने? हाँ, स्पाइस मार्केट मिर्च के लिए फेमस है. So actually one of my friend was a chairman there. So as his installation ceremony, I was called. अभी हुआ था ना थोड़े दिन पहले. So उसके बाद में they called me up for one session there and I was speaking. And there was a gentleman there, and he came and said, I am using ChatGPT paid version. I am very happy with that. I said, what are you using it for? And he said, I am actually drafting response to notices using ChatGPT. Imagine, and he is taking, like, paid version is like, it costs you 3,500 rupees, $20 per month. And if a person in Guntur can use it, he said, it makes my life easier. I will draft the response very much. And why can't we use, see, I'm again and again telling people, which people don't understand. We think technology is against us. That is because our MICS mindset has done that, or ISKA mindset has done that. But I will tell you, because how many of you here flunked multiple times, like 6 times, sab log, like anyone wants to write CA examination again, post lunch, sapne mein sign kar dega, koi nahi na. So none of us want to write it up. So the point which I'm trying to bring out here is use it. And it's not just technology which is important, you should know how to use it. I'll just give one, if I may tip away.
Sure, sir.
I attended one session by, do you know a gentleman called Dr. Devi Shetty? Narayan Hidalaya is like the chain which is there. And Dr. Devi Shetty was actually talking. And this is actually 2-3 years back, and he gave a very interesting example. He said, technology is not important, how you use it is there. And he said one very interesting thing. He said, I have to, every patient detail I have to put it up. So he started using that feature in keyboard in your mobile phone, where you can press that speak thing and it will auto type everything.
Yes, sir.
He started using that feature and it was very successful. But there was some tongue twister word, hota na kuch thoda medical term, which were problematic. So you know what did he do? He asked his assistant to feed them as a contact in his mobile phone.
Okay.
It will pick it up easily. If you put them as a contact, it will picking it up. So can you imagine, this is what we call it, how do you use technology is important, not what technology. You know, it's not like you should have high-end technology, आपको use करना आना चाहिए बस.
Amazing, and it's so inspiring. Yes, we have a question. Can you please, Atul, can you?
हाँ.
But there are certain open source and freewares are also available as a substitute of those softwares.
Yes.
Like LibreOffice is there. So those who are not willing to have, or those who don't want to have the entire facility of Office,
Very
they
much.
can go for this open source software. So my question is that how good they are to solve your problems?
I would say, see, very
Because
good.
in many areas there are freewares available, and those are legally
I would differ on this two terms. Like freeware and open source are different. anyway.
open source.
Open source.
Yeah. I would suggest, like, I always say this one, I only donate to two charities. One is Akshaya Patra, one is Linux Foundation.
Linux Foundation.
I love Linux Foundation because there are so many men and women who are working free of cost for making open source software. So I hope, you know, they told about one tool is there, KNIME, K-N-I-M-E, it's an open source tool. Use it now. Why you want to spend 1 lakh rupees for an idea software when you can do the same thing with KNIME? The point is that either we are not trying it to know that, either we are not even thinking about that. So that's the thing. But freewares are, I will actually, Rakshit bhai will be the best person to answer it, and Palak would say,
He's
freeware
right.
is different.
Anand bhai, you're right, and you're also right. Open source में Office and Linux, हमने Windows भूल गए बिल्कुल.
Yes, because
Or you know what? Windows is so naughty. With every update, they will.
We have to restart
They eat hardware also. RAM बढ़ाओ, processor बढ़ाओ. Linux बेचारा गरीब आदमी कुछ कहते ही नहीं है. वो कहता है तो मुझे कुछ एक डिब्बा दे दो, बस मैं उस पर चलता रहूँगा. And you'll get the best of performances, less of bugs, less of errors, and less of.
and there are certain Linux machines who have not restarted for last 30 years, and they are sitting, then they are serving the clients.
Sir, when I went to US in the year 2000, I used to work on Sun Solaris OS. Right, I worked on that Sun Solaris, and मैंने वापस आया, मैंने ये Windows NT और ये सर्वर पे क्यों दिमाग लगा रहे हो? It is such a wonderful. तो खैर, you are right. I totally buy that, and you should promote rather than spending a huge amount and then getting also eating up your hardware. So open source is a very, very, very decent option too.
But there is, before that, there is some learning curve as well attached to using those open source or even certain tools, because it is not as user friendly as those paid versions are. That is the only catch that we have to deal with.
So
Probably.
if you are familiar with all these paid tools which you are using, and then you come on to these open source tools, then learning curve अपने आप ही नीचे आ जाता है, because you have already used it. बस उसमें थोड़ा सा टर्मिनोलॉजी में डिफरेंस आता होगा. इट्स लाइक आपने एक बार BMW ऑटोमेटिक चला लिया, उसके बाद आपको कोई मारुति दे रहा है चलाने को, तो आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी. आप आराम से चलाओगे, बस थोड़ी देर लगेगी ये समझने में कि वो बटन शटन कहाँ है उसके. आई रियली एग्री, बट कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. लर्निंग कर्व उनके लिए चैलेंज होगा जो पहली बार सॉफ्टवेयर यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उनके लिए नहीं होगा जो ऑलरेडी ये सब यूज़ कर चुके हैं.
You know, open source is like a general medicine, you know, and
it's a general
the license version is
Well said.
basically a packaged, branded medicine. I think that's the only difference. If I'll put it in a very simple way, I think that answers your question probably.
Sir, as you said about using of free and open source softwares, what about the confidentiality and data integrity as well as the confidentiality of client
Your
data?
name?
Hitesh.
Hitesh, the point is, where are you keeping the data? They are just giving you the platform to create data.
Sir, let's say I'm using iLog PDF, just for example. It is converting my data into Excel to PDF and Word
You are
to
using
PDF
those
and then-
conversion tools. So
Yes.
you are uploading
one
your
of them. It is one of them.
open source. Right. So you are uploading your Excel. They're not hoarding your Excels. These all conversion tools, they're not hoarding your data. They are just running their algorithm on the cloud server विच कन्वर्ट्स द डेटा. अगर वो एक एक यूज़र का डेटा रख लेंगे तो उनका बट्टा बैठ जाएगा. आप सोचो एक एक यूज़र इतना कन्वर्ट करता है डेटा, अगर वो सब, और उनकी कोई इंटेंशन नहीं है डेटा रखने की.
That is fine.
हाँ, हमने इनकी वो भी की हुई है, रिवर्स इंजीनियरिंग करके देखा हुआ है कि कहीं ये अपलोडेड फाइल को कहीं सेव कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो वो नहीं कर रहे हैं सेव. अगर वो कर रहे होते तो कोई ये कन्वर्जन टूल्स यूज़ नहीं करता. और हम आज से नहीं कर रहे हैं, बहुत पहले से करते थे. जब एक्सेल फाइल्स हमारे पास नॉन पास्ड एक्सेल फाइल्स आती थी या टेक्स्ट फाइल्स आती थी, कन्वर्जन के लिए हमने ये ओपन सोर्स टूल्स बहुत यूज़ किए हैं. बट उसमें अभी तक तो हमने कोई ऐसी थ्रेट नहीं देखी जो आपको लग रहा है कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी ऑफ योर डेटा. सो व्हेन आई एम अपलोडिंग माय फाइल फ्रॉम एक्सेल टू पीडीएफ, दे आर नॉट स्टोरिंग माय एक्सेल एनीवेयर.
सर एक मैं बताता हूँ विथ ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, ये होता है मार्केटिंग, ठीक है. द पर्सन हु सेलिंग अ लाइसेंस सॉफ्टवेयर ही हैज टू डू. सर SSL इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी विच इज राइट नाउ पावरिंग द होल इंटरनेट इज ओपन सोर्स. मेरा कहने का मतलब है, आई ऑलवेज हियर दिस व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इट. सो आई जस्ट गिव यू वन एग्जांपल, छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. I'll give you 2 software names which is used by enterprise wide and they are open source. Like for example, do you know where is your Aadhaar data stored right now? नहीं पता. मुझे भी पता नहीं था पहले, अभी पता है. एक बैंगलोर में, एक पुणे में डेटा सेंटर है और इट्स एक्चुअली ऑन MongoDB database. You can go and check out MongoDB. MongoDB is an open source database. So MongoDB का सारा डेटा जो हमारा आधार का डेटा है which is there. Second example I'll give you is there is this tool I told you 9. So बैंक से ज़्यादा सिक्योरिटी तो और कोई मेंटेन नहीं करता है. Have you heard about a bank called Society General? No. So you can go and check it out. Society General plus 9. They have tested all APIs and everything of that one and they are using it. My point which I'm trying to say is, एक पहले बनाया गया था by the license company like Microsoft and Linux का झगड़ा चला था, तब they said no Microsoft is more secure, we are giving you service. I'm sorry, I'm not telling any name of any company, but the main thing is that this is a perception. What I'm trying to say is open source is as good or as bad as any licensed software. That's my submission, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Like just to add on, see, your concerns are absolutely valid. But you need to actually evaluate before you are using which tool. So for example, ChatGPT, I think there's a famous case, probably most of you might have read about Samsung, right? By mistaken, users, the Samsung employees uploaded certain confidential data on ChatGPT and then it was leaked. Basically, ChatGPT started using that data sets, in their analytical capabilities further. So there are both sides of the stories. Where there will be definitely certain softwares, where data confidentiality will be compromised, and there will be certain softwares which will not be compromised. So a careful evaluation will be definitely required, and it's so just like there is no, you cannot have a generic statement saying that every open source is secured. It's not a, there is generic statement is a very lethal statement to make. And in fact, one of the reasons why licensed software is also operated is because of these reasons, because we have to heavily invest on data securities and everything. So there are both sides of a coin, right? We just need to evaluate very carefully.
Thank you. But I was just asking because some of the softwares are gathering the data which they provide in free of cost, and they are gathering that data and use in.
Sir, thumb rule एकदम simple है. There is no free lunch. यहाँ पे भी free में नहीं मिला ना अपने को.
I have heard.
I agree. That's the
that
thumb
quote
rule.
I have heard.
बस.
Whatever you are getting in free, it is not free.
Nothing is free. And you can try it. मतलब आप एक छोटा सा example ले लीजिए. How many of you are using like any of this social media things and all the thing on your mobile phone? Whatever we are discussing, आप जाके देखना उसी पे. So nothing is, I would say, free. But having said that, open source because are more comparatively, I would say, have a different thought process. Licenses are not bad, I'm not telling you. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. But you have to take it with a pinch of salt. It's something like, see, you go to market, आप सब्जी भी लेते हो तो आप देख भाल के लेते हो ना. ऐसे ही मतलब दे दो 10 किलो जो भी है मन है, वैसा तो नहीं है. Everything has to be looked at. थोड़ा assess करना पड़ेगा. You have to see it.
Thank you, sir.
I think establishing open source really helps to establish a use case scenario and ensure that whether that particular platform is really helpful or not. So that really helps, open source really helps in this way. Once you have established that okay, my use case scenario is ready, like I'm able to save my time or there's a visible ROI on this particular product, okay, then going for a licensed version will definitely make a lot of sense. So you can basically, I think calibration will be always advisable.
Thank you very much for enlightening us on this area, and that brings us more confidence within us in getting accustomed with the technology. Let's make an attempt to adopt, actually try and experiment, as one of the slides emphasized that the culture of experiment is very much rampant now, and we need to make ourselves okay with it. You know, it's okay, because in India we have this very well structured mindset, as categorically pointed out by Anandji, and very beautifully. So with this, I have another question, sir, that in India a large portion of SMEs and small businesses have flourished their business through traditional platforms. How can we enable them to adopt the technology that can give them access to national reach? You know, because we as a chartered accountants are getting we still have many people who want to come forward, but simply because they are not educated enough, I feel as educated part of the society, we are obligated to bring awareness to them. So how can we do that?
If I can just add my value, and then, see, one thing I have to admit about our profession, we are amazingly good. Like, we love our client, right? मतलब you know everything about उसका शादी का anniversary कब है, you know, and every one time they will call you. Like, there is a kind of a joke which goes like, someone run away from that family, they will first call the CA. ऐसा भी हो सकता है check करने के लिए CA के साथ तो नहीं भागेगा कोई. But anyway, that's a joke which is there. But we are very entrenched with our client. And actually, I don't know, this is my view. One of my friend was telling me very nicely. He said, see, the first generation of entrepreneurs and everything, where actually they have survived in a very tough situation. It was more of a survival pre-91 and all that era. They were not thinking of ये बड़ी चीज़ों के बात में. But the next generation of the people who are coming, they are very, very smart. You know, they are well educated, they are coming from thing. Now, if you have to target, like if you are targeting those people who are already second generation business class and all thing, and they have an aspiration to go global or India. Like, I was in Indore, and there is one, I don't know if you have heard this case study of one of the a mixture making company. They Pepsi tried to acquire it up too many times. They couldn't do it, and they have more business than that. You know, can you imagine that this is like, you know, Pepsi is trying to take over that company and not able to take over that company. That kind of competition, they are giving it up. So every organization, now when they do this, they require support. They will require someone who can be a valued advisor. My point is that chartered accountant should go into what we call it the consulting mode. You should be advising the client कि sir ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं, कि ये भी आप try कीजिए. And I am again telling you, I have seen, this is actually, don't go by my words. Please go to HBR's, Harvard Business Review has one very interesting thing. Enterprise which fail and enterprise which survive. There is one actually article is there online freely आप देख सकते हैं. The author have given a very interesting thing out there. They said average age of any Fortune 500 company, you know, Fortune 500 company, average life of that name being mentioned there is 6 years unless it is a oil and energy company. सिर्फ oil companies वहाँ पे रहती है, बाकी companies का average life है 6 साल. In that, they said the companies which have survived, like Unilever and all the things have survived on the list for a very long time, they always survive because they tried things very fast. Sometimes they failed, sometimes they survived. But उनका एक mindset होता था कि अगर हम लोग करेंगे तो या तो successful होंगे या कुछ सीखेंगे. And that is important. That's my submission.
No, I think I'll just add on to this. The Indian SMEs and small businesses, are amazing at adopting technology. If you look at, I don't know whether we have heard of this company name as Meesho. Okay, Meesho, founded by an ex-ITC guy, mentioned as top 100 times most valued company in the world. Have more than 2 crores vendors registered on that platform, which has nothing but small retailers and everything. I think there's just so much of inspiration that we can draw from these businesses is that the way they have adopted digital platforms, like Paytm and BharatPe and everyone. So they take technology as a survival method. They don't take it as a granted. So for them, technology adoption, is in necessarily like a survival method for them. And if they don't adopt, then they will be out of business. So I think that mindset, has led them to have a huge adoption of technology, and that's why I think all these startups, are flourishing in India, and that I think mindset, also as professionals, we need to also adopt. We are somewhere, somewhere we should not be in our comfort zone, saying that, okay, I think my traditional methods are going well. Good technology is very good, and we can be a good commenters on technology, but not an adopter. I think so. That is where it's very much required. I'll give you one more anecdote. Basically when I left ITC, my peers, asked me that, how do I get better appraisals, over here in the company, like top of the talent from CAs, all rank holders and everything. So how do I get better appraisal? I said, see, everyone has got basics right. Everyone has core strengths in place, which is what are auditing skills or whatever those skills are there. So only differentiating factor which you will be able to bring on table is technology. So if you are good at that, so with ITC we were using some tools like ACL and all those platforms. So I said, if you are able to adopt these, if you're able to prove to management that you're able to bring more value insights by adopting technology, you will be definitely an outstanding performer. And just a couple of days back he messaged me saying that, thank you for that piece of advice and wisdom. But that's how it is. I think with ChatGPT coming into picture, a professional who has adopted technology will be a differentiator with a professional who has not adopted technology. That's how it's going to be in the next decade.
That's a golden nugget right here for all of us to implement. So it's like, how do we, as Anandji has already, given us the core of how can we extend our services, how do we as a CAs, being the trusted finance corridor partners of our clients, how do we inspire them yet more in the sense that how do we inspire them to change their mindset, that it is not something that they feel, there is no need to be feeling dreaded about that, oh my god, what it is, because there is so much of apprehension when that comes to the three big words, artificial intelligence.
On a lighter note, record तो हो रहा है, ठीक है, learn from Infosys. क्या हुआ, मतलब ठीक है, हर चीज में time लगेगा, होगा. GST हो जाए, जो भी चलेगा. Why are you so worried about that? When a large company is not worried, you should not be worried.
Absolutely, and Narayan Murthy ji and Ratan Tata. So yes, as we can see that mindset is playing a huge role here in rather than opening up our perceptions. Building resilience, I guess we CAs are too good in building resilience as far as the course curriculum and getting the updates is concerned, but developing an entrepreneur spirit will be the key in near future, because if we are able to adopt technology, that is what is required as of now. I don't think there is a dearth of knowledge and skill and upskill as far as Indian chartered accountants are concerned, but all we need to have is to adapt to that particular quality so that it takes us on the global stage. So with this, I have another question, just a moment. So in what ways, could you please help us in knowing that in what ways can we automate the process of auditing and accounting through unstructured data? We are still, because what is happening is we are still struggling with trying to just complete the audit, like internal controls. We would never want to go that what has actually happened in the CCTV. We are still scratching the surface. So we would want to know from all three of you that how can we do that?
Okay, I'll start actually. So I'll actually keep it very simple. I know we have already, how much time we have? मतलब आप लोग don't try to check your watch and say us that हो गया time. I know some people have still. No, I'm just telling you. मतलब वो indication होता है कि हो गया बस चलो. So anyway, I'll just 10 minutes more. Okay. तो ठीक है. One, I'll just quickly give you my point of view on this one, as very rightly pointed out. See, guys, to be very honest, I'll tell you, go back to fundamentals. See, you agree or disagree, if I ask you a question on SA 315, a lot of people will not be able to answer it up. And I'm 110% sure. Okay? You know that. हमारे साथ क्या होता है? Like यहाँ पे, I think the young generation would have come and gone to ITT center to learn Tally. उससे पहले Tally was taken for granted कि मतलब आर्टिकलशिप में बच्चा अपने आप सीख जाएगा. आज तक किसी ने Tally का मैनुअल देखा है यहाँ पे? 1, 2, 3, 4 लोगों ने मैनुअल भी देखा है. Okay, that's a thing only. No one reads it. But my point is, go back to fundamental. I think our president sir said a very interesting thing. Check the checklist. See, if you know कि ये करना है, you guys are you pass one toughest examination. Your IQ level are amazingly great. You will yourself fair. But don't forget our fundamentals. And I'm again telling you this one because I see sometime, this is my view, I may be wrong, we format our hard disk after examination. Like, chodo, ho gaya. Don't format your hard disk, repeat it up, upgrade. I'm again telling you, I myself try to upgrade myself. Fundamentals, if we know, we will survive. And that means our standards of audit, FAIS are coming and all the thing. I would highly recommend you because on FAIS, I was part of that thing. The 410 and 420 series, which is on digital forensic and data analytics, we have taken like a lot of experts have taken a lot of effort to go it up. Have a read of that. Give your comments on that. It may be right, it may be wrong. Try it out. It will give you a lot of perspective. That's my submission. Yes.
Palak sir, please.
I think basically, when we talk about technology and automation, I think we go into a very fictional world, and becomes very overwhelming, frankly speaking. That there's just too many tools available, where to start from.
Exactly.
Right? I think when we basically interview chartered accountants, we have a very simple process. We basically have an Excel test. When we ask 6 questions, 30 minutes, solve those sample questions, and then we see what is the capabilities. So the technology can give you a very overwhelming feeling, but I think we need to start with very small and basic stuffs. I think if the basics are clear, what I recommend to our team is simply focus on very core of your Microsoft products like Excel and PowerPoint. If you learn these 2 tools, I think it will take you miles and miles in any corporate world, in any professional world. And that too, not again. Now, when you talk about Excel, then people start talking about I have to learn macros and I have to learn these and that and everything. Not required. Very basics in Excel. Also, there are a few I can in my team I give them there are 15 functions. You need to learn. You need to master these functions. You can probably solve majority of analytical problems that comes. So I think we have to just break down our problem sets. We might talk about AI. We might talk about Sam Altman. In the world and everything. But you need to start at a very very micro level. Start with very basic stuff, and then probably we'll be able to achieve all sort of automation it's possible. I don't want to term a lot of tools. There are a lot of tools being offered in the market for automation. We slightly digress from your question actually. A lot of tools available in the market. We are also offering one of the tools. There are a lot of tools, ACL, IDEA. There are so many tools which helps you in automating your processes. But I think the point is to start with small. In Excel also you can automate. Okay. So that's my take.
I come from a totally different background here, so I will not be talking about financial or auditing forensics. But I work as a cyber forensic expert. I have 2 decades of experience as a certified forensic expert working on crimes. And as Anand bhai said, fundamental is the most important thing. And one thing which I've learned in all my cases, recently which case I'm handling is a very challenging case. And if you go through all these protocols and SOPs, what we call, that checklists and all, I don't know whether we'll succeed or not, but that fundamental always plays a very important role. And I would say that the case which I was working on, it was again the basic fundamental. It was I had been auditing around 4 or 5 hard drives and 7-8 mobile phones, and it was a very national security level threat. और आप विश्वास नहीं मानोगे, वो होता है ना, हम लोग ने क्रिमिनोलॉजी में ही सीखा है कि वो हर इंसान कोई ना कोई गलती ज़रूर करता है. वो लोकार्ट्स प्रिंसिपल है, यू एंटर द सीन ऑफ क्राइम एंड यू लीव समथिंग देयर. तो अब हमारी वो अप्रोच होगी इन द लास्ट 20-30 ईयर्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस कि हम वो स्टैंडर्ड प्रोटोकॉल्स तो वो देख रहे होते हैं, सभी लोग कर रहे होते हैं, हमारी पूरी जूनियर टीम कर रही होती है, वो जो A to Z जिसे कहते हैं, हम बस आके वो चीज़ देखते हैं एंड दैट हेल्प्स यू टू win the case over. So I think fundamentals will always play a role. That is my say on that.
So let's get back to basics. Thank you very much. With this, there's no better way to give a big round of applause to all the panel dignitaries here who has, made sure that we open up our mind, stick to our original thinking. Let's not just, be that, been there, done that, and try to think a little more, not only for our clients, but as a nation as a whole. I certainly believe for myself that becoming a chartered accountant is not just a degree to achieve, it's an entire holistic approach of what a human being can stand for. Thank you very much. With this, let's get ready for another session. Thank you very much.